Now we have a company called Plastic Bank, which is hosted by Markus from BASF. And Plastic Bank is a fascinating company because they have built a business model which is profitable and sustainable. Please, David, come on stage.
Thank you, Markus.
The interesting thing is when NOAH went to Berlin in 2015, we invited the champions and the challengers. So the idea was to bring the industrial or the big corporates with the digital challengers. This concept worked okayish. The champions prefer to be in the audience. You as BASF are doing a lot for the visible problem of plastic. Carbon credits is a really complicated, not to touch thing, but who hasn't stepped in a piece of plastic in the ocean? Maybe, Markus, you could say a few words about the initiatives BASF is involved in, especially the big alliance, which we stumbled over and then we got into contact.
Yeah, thank you very much, Marco, for the kind introduction. And maybe before I talk about BASF, I want to thank you very much for keeping this conference alive despite the general situation we are in. I think it was so easy for other, let's say, organizers to cancel their events in these times, but you didn't cancel your event. So I think that's a great applause from my side that you do it and that we are able to meet in person here today. That's your achievement. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. So yeah, a few words about BASF and BASF Venture Capital. So yes, we are investing in young companies in and around the chemical industry who are working towards creating a more sustainable and economy and a more circular economy, and that of course hits it on the nail in terms of what we're talking about today, the plastic circularity. And what is of interest for us as BASF? I think it all starts with transparency. So we need to understand where does the plastic waste come from, and what are the sources? Where did it travel? What is the amount of bio-based material that's in that particular plastic material? Is it biodegradable or not? How much of that material is recyclable? So I think I would encourage any startup, young companies who is working on these topics to create transparency. They are doing a tremendously important job for us in order to go to the next stage. And the next stage, of course, then is to separate the plastic waste and to bring it where it can be recycled in a mechanical way or in a chemical way. So, and that's of course where also we try to deliver a contribution from BASF, helping to deliver these technologies that make mechanical recycling and chemical recycling more feasible. But again, that's also a big effort where also for startups there's a lot of room to work with. And then finally, of course, to close the loop and bring it back to the circle is the most important step. So again, we try to contribute by developing additives and stuff that increases the amount of plastic that can be recycled and can be brought back to the circular economy in order to create virgin material for new products. So that's what we do. And to answer your question about the Alliance to End Plastic Waste, we just had a very, I think, and BASF is a founding member of that organization. We had a very important conference last week in New York where not only the corporates, and these are 71 today who are supporting the Alliance to End Plastic Waste, came together to discuss, and we had also very promising startups and young companies there, but also for the first time we invited big shot investors to show them what is the opportunity in the circular economy, and that is it is a great opportunity. There's a huge gap today already between the demand for recycled plastic, and David is in a much better position to talk about customer interest for recycled material than I would be, and what is actually today brought back to the circular economy. So simply by looking at the economic or the investment opportunity, this is a very, very intriguing opportunity for investors. Leaving aside that, of course, we all have the responsibility to fix that problem. And that is, of course, what motivates us to be here and to talk and to meet investors and to accelerate everything we are working on.
So 2%, you told us before the panel, is currently recycled plastic. And in the summer, I know from David, the prices for recycling plastic went above virgin plastic. So FMCGs pay more for recycled plastic than for new one. David, Plastic Bank, you founded it in 2013. He's one of the few people who met the Pope twice, who spoke at TED twice. And he never raised capital. He just, like a rocket, did it by himself. He's active in 5 countries. But please, give us a quick overview of Plastic Bank.
Thank you, Marco. Quick question for the audience. I'll engage everybody for a moment. Now, first off, I think we can all agree that there's a catastrophe, a plastic catastrophe unfolding in the ocean. We know that. Well, let me ask you. If every bottle, I'll use that as a metaphor for packaging and bottles and the rest of it, if every bottle that you encountered, every bottle was easily exchangeable for €5, how many would you see in the ocean? How many would you see in the environment? How many people would be throwing it in the waste bin? None. We all know that. So it's not the plastic, it's us. We have to stop vilifying the material, stop pointing outside and recognize that the solution also lies with us. So imagine it at €5. The Plastic Bank. We're a global chain of stores for the world's poor, where everything in the store is available to be purchased using plastic. School tuition, medical insurance, Wi-Fi, cooking fuel, everything the world's poor have always struggled to afford, now available using the garbage that's beneath their feet as money. Inside of it is a banking application. Spoke of transparency, a blockchain-based banking application that provides the traceability, authenticity in the transaction. The more that our collectors collect and return the material, they earn financial inclusion. They have a reliability score, a credit score that allows them to be able to access small loans, different insurance products, and the rest. Social plastic is what we collect. Contemplate the term. For the first time since inception, a new category of plastic. Social plastic, a material whose value transforms the world in a positive fashion. That, in a big nutshell, is the Plastic Bank. But more importantly, the vast volumes that we collect. Just about to announce 2 billion bottles, think 2,000 million bottles that we've just collected, growing exponentially year over year. We sell to great organizations like Henkel. Find us in a bottle of Schauma or Persil or Nature Box. And when you buy that bottle, when you take that off of the shelf, you would in fact be working with the world's poor to collect that plastic from an ocean-bound waterway and help end a little bit of suffering at the same time. That's the brand engagement that we provide. That's social plastic. Now, as a business, we're growing 100% year over year. This year, we'll do no less than 60 million US, perhaps 100 million. I think we're doing okay. It's cute. It's a cute little business. We have a long way to grow. If we're to make any change in the world, we need to be doing billions. If somewhere between 12 and 15 billion kilo flow into the ocean every year, we need to grow a business that's twice that size. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you very much. Very, very impressive and moving as usual. Now, Markus, the recycling plastic market, I researched it. Apparently, the top 5 players only have like a few percentage market share. It seems to be a local market. You as a chemical industry, where are the inhibitors? Where is the friction to increase the recycling share? Is it infrastructure investments? Are there these pits where people bring the... Where is the system currently going wrong?
Well, I think in the past we have seen many experiments in that space, and I think there was also political will to address these topics. And I'm coming from Germany, where we experimented, and I would say we still experiment today with the with what we call the green dot, and so where you would collect your plastic in a separate system. And this was imposed by the government already many years ago. But to be honest, never worked out very well until today. You still cannot be sure that the plastic that will be collected by the system, which was put in place by a law many years ago, will actually go to recycling, but more likely it will go to waste incineration or to landfill. So that's a pity that these government initiatives didn't succeed, and you see regulatory disparities in many parts of Europe, which of course makes it all very complicated. And but I think today we are in a different situation, because today we have the consumer demand. That was always a core argument in the past, that people said, yes, of course we could recycle more material, we could try to collect the material, but in the end, consumers will not be willing to pay for it. And that's now changing currently. So that's what we observe. Retail companies we have talked to, supermarket chains we have talked to 4 years ago, and today they are presenting a completely different picture to us. 4 years ago, it might have been true that no consumer would be willing to pay 1 cent more for plastic packaging out of recycled material. Today that's different. So I think in the end, it's very much driven from my personal perception. The worldwide driver will be not the regulatory environment and the question, do we have a green party in the government or not? It will be all driven by consumer demand, and they are already putting a lot of pressure on the fast-moving consumer good companies, and they are now acting on this pressure, talking to David, talking to us, talking to the packaging companies. So in the end, I think that will make the major change.
A renaissance has begun, Marco. A renaissance has begun. It's by the people, for the people. They've stopped waiting for government. They've stopped waiting for corporate. And the number one reason that our customers are starting to join us is because they can't hire the staff. People don't want to work at an organization that's killing the world anymore. We're entering the regenerative economy. And unless you have purpose in your soul, you're not going to be in business. And the opportunity is past sustainability, everybody. We have to stop talking about doing less damage. We have to repair the damage that's been done. Those who will win will be a part of the regenerative society, and that is what is emerging. And consumers shouldn't have to pay more for something that doesn't kill the planet.
Well, there was a study done actually a few weeks ago, and China, surprisingly, the Chinese consumer is the world's most environmental conscious consumer. They buy products which are recycled or offset more than any other nation, because I guess they have the most garbage in their home. Now, David, let's talk about your rollout. I'm fascinated as a banker about numbers and metrics, as you know, and you're currently active in what countries?
We started off in Haiti, which is a crazy place to start any business. Don't recommend it. We went to the Philippines, went to Indonesia, Brazil, Egypt. We're now opening Thailand and Cameroon. And then we're about to announce, coming in January, Tanzania and Kenya. We continue to grow a global supply chain through a licensing model that returns volumes of material. And we need to be around the world, of course. And our model where plastic is money could exist in Los Angeles in the end. The 70,000 people who are homeless in the city of Los Angeles, it's a currency for the world. It could be everywhere and will be everywhere.
And the licensing model means that companies pay for the marketing value you deliver to them.
So we communicate,
which is real, which is not a greenwash, which is traceable through blockchain.
Super high value, yeah. And that way we get to return the material below the commodity price of recycled content, removing any objection that any organization would ever have.
It's traceable.
We've figured out what we could do so that nobody could say no.
So, Markus, your customers, are they the same customers David has?
Kind of, yes. Of course, we are supplying to the consumer goods industry, to the packaging industry, and And yeah, we see the same kind of demand coming from them. And again, they are just passing on the demand they feel from their end consumers. And so yeah, we have very intense discussions about how we can bring back the material to the circular economy, how material can be recycled, but also the question, of course, how can products be designed so they are much easier to recycle than they are today. So yeah, we are working on the same clients here.
Wonderful. Well, hope you will work together one day. And I hope that Amos has joined us, which is now telling us about efficiency in the transportation sector. Maybe we can bring this type of efficiency in the plastic tracing. There are, by the way, some NGOs telling us where the leakage is. And you have a massive job in front of you, right? I mean, 5, 7 countries now, but there are like 200 to take care of. So we hope you get great partners at the NOAH conference. That's the company which I'm most impressed about from all speakers coming to NOAH this year, if I may say so.
And don't forget, everyone, my name is David. I'm fighting Goliath. Fighting Goliath. I'm David, and I'm here to have a conversation with each and every one of you. So if you see me in the conference, please stop me and let me know what you think. Thank you very much, Marco, again.
And David will be back on stage tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.